Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Stephanie from Lumeria's Star, and today what we're going to do is I am doing a VR, a video response to Lisa over at Lisa Papez, Supportive Tarot, and the hashtag is Top 10 Tarot of 22. So basically, it's the top 10 decks, either that were new to you or maybe you bonded with. I'm kind of adding that part in because I think there's a few decks in here, or maybe it's only one deck that I have that I didn't get in 2022 that I bonded with and it felt significant. So I am doing that tarot tag, and let's just get into it. So the first deck in my top 10 decks of 2022 is the Beltane Tarot, and this deck was again new to me in 2022. I had been holding off on this deck for a while. I always really admired it, but for some reason I was like, oh, I don't need it. Maybe it was the glossy cardstock that I didn't like, and that's why I think I didn't get it. First of all, look at these backs. Those are gorgeous. So when it did go into a matte cardstock, I picked it up and like, OMG, this deck is powerful and deep and amazing. This Empress cards is probably one of my favorite Empress cards ever. Yeah, this deck is just deep and it feels grounding, but also emotional. Gosh, I don't even know how to describe how I feel when I use this deck, but it's just very deep. It feels like it gets me at a very deep level. It also feels very relatable, very authentic, very genuine. Sometimes it can be a little dark, but I just love this deck. And a lot of the cards are a little bit pippish too, and I don't even mind. Yeah, I love Stasia Burrington's artwork, so that also helps. The guidebook is really beautifully written as well. So this was just such a lovely addition to my tarot collection in 2022, and quickly becoming a very deep favorite of mine. I also love that Judgment card. She has a lot of depictions in this deck that really resonate with me. Like that to me definitely feels like very Six of Swords energy, just like coming up for that first breath after you've been, you know, holding it and kind of struggling underwater. That feels so relatable to me. Yeah, these decks or these images just feel very emotive and deep and grounded and beautiful. And I love this Queen of Cups too. It just feels like home, if that makes sense. I'm just so happy I finally wanted to give this a chance. It just feels like very significant in my deck collection already. So definitely becoming a quick favorite of mine. So that is the Beltane Tarot. And these are in no particular order, by the way. Like I'm not numbering these like from, you know, 10 to like my top number 1. These are just 10 kind of like top significant decks for me in 2022. So that is the Beltane Tarot. Okay, so a deck that I decided I really liked pairing with the Beltane Tarot is the Outgrow Yourself. This is an Oracle and Tarot by Akta Spaman. I think that's how you pronounce it. And this deck is really cool. These are the backs, because it is both a tarot and an oracle. So you can read the tarot based off of the imagery and the keywords, which I believe this is a more thought-based tarot. But for me, I tried that and it just wasn't clicking for me. So I do just read this solely as an oracle. Maybe that'll change over time. Maybe I'll go back to reading it as a tarot. But as an oracle, this deck feels grounded, yet wild, yet feral, and deeply rooted in our truth. I love these like key phrases on the deck. They are so powerful. And this pairs beautifully with the Sassari Vito Tarot. This became a quick favorite of mine as well last year, and I'm excited to continue to work with it, to grow with it. I love the kind of weird, quirky imagery. I love the body positivity of this deck, the rawness, the vulnerability. Like the death card, the keyword is blossom. Like, I just think that's so good. These keywords are just amazing, the key phrases. And it feels just very like personally empowering. So I think if you are going through a tough place in life and you need to remember your worth, your inner worth, your inner power, I think this deck is a wonderful choice for that. I also really love the stark black backgrounds. I think that really adds to this aesthetic and this artwork. Don't question your gifts. You're already there. Enjoy. Like, it's so good. You may never be good enough. Like, these are such great journal prompts too. Oh, so good. So I love this deck. And look, we ended on the Empress. Let me show you the Empress in this one. Cultivate your garden. Like, for those of you who maybe don't know, I am doing a year-long study with the Empress this year, and like, I love that. Cultivate your garden. It's so good. So this has made my top 10 decks for 2022. This is the Outgrow Yourself Tarot and Oracle by Akta Spaman. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Okay, so the next deck came to me at the very end of the year in December, and this is a mass market deck. This is the Pasta Tarot, and you all, when I say this deck is delicious and delightful, I am not kidding. Though this deck may seem very kitschy and, you know, like a novelty deck, it's not. It's a very Rider-Waite-Smith based deck, so it's super readable. The only thing that's a little bit hard is learning like what the renamed suits are. These are like Italian words for the different types of pasta shapes. But even if you don't know that, the imagery is pretty intuitive and it is pretty Rider-Waite-Smith based, so I feel like you can figure it out pretty quickly. The artwork is beautiful. It's quirky, it's fun, it's delicious. The creators of this deck are queer, so there's a lot of like nods to that in this deck, so it feels very inclusive. And they're from New Jersey, so, you know, I gotta represent my state. We love our food here. I feel like a lot of people who live in like New York or New Jersey, like, we love our food. We love good food. I guess we do have a large Italian population in this area, so, you know, we love good Italian food. Who doesn't? So this deck really took me by surprise. I love that death card. I wanted to check it out, and even if it was a novelty deck, I was like totally cool with that. But no, it's not a novelty deck. This is a really great reader. And I'm really excited to continue getting to know this deck in 2023. So this one's not going anywhere. I might even play around with reading this or bringing this deck to events and reading with clients, just because it's a pretty easy reader. And I think I've said in other videos, I really like to use like Rider-Waite-Smith decks when I do in-person events. So I might give this one a go. Look how funny that one is. It's just really good. So for anyone who feels like they've been on the fence with this, thinking it's not readable, take my advice and just give it a try, because it's truly amazing. I do need to find like a cute bag for this. I'm on the hunt for something maybe on Etsy. I mean, it would be so cute to get like a pasta fabric. That would be so cute for a bag. So looking for something for that. Okay, so the next deck in my top 10 is in this pretty mermaid bag. And this is my, if I can get it out of the bag, this is my Tempest Tarot. So I got this in the beginning of 2022. I want to say it was January 2022. And for those of you who don't know, I live at the beach. I like to call myself a beach witch. So I do have an affinity for like ocean themed, mermaid themed decks. And this one is just really unique. It's not like the other ocean or mermaid decks out there that tend to be like oversaturated and really overdo it with like the sea creatures and the mermaids. Like this is almost like a palette cleanser kind of deck. Like it's pippish, it's got the clean white backgrounds. I really enjoy this art style. I love how we've got like, you know, a nod to like Pixie's font style. Like it's a really great deck if you're looking for an ocean or mermaid themed deck that isn't over the top. This feels very understated and it plays really nicely. I really like pairing this with Danielle Noel's Ocean Dreams Oracle. They look really lovely together. And this can be like an all-around deck. Like I usually use my like mermaid decks in the summer, but this one, because of it's a very neutral kind of palette, it feels really appropriate to use all times of the year. So if you are a fan of just ocean themed, mermaid themes, if you don't have this, highly recommend it. It's a really great reader. I love this Empress too. Very Queen of the Sea. It's just great. I love this so much. I'm so glad this is in my collection. And this was so fun to work with in 2022. And I am excited to continue getting to know it as we move into 2023. Look at that Devil card. So good. So that is the Tempest Tarot. Let me put that back in my cute little mermaid bag. Okay. Next deck in my top 10 of 22 is the Tarot de Carlotides. This is such a great deck, and I really feel like I don't see a lot of people talking about this or using it, and I don't know why, because it's amazing. So many things that I like about this deck. Number one, the size. Fournier decks are tinier, so they fit perfectly in my hands, so I love that. It like the tactile experience of it is really nice for me. These backs are amazing. I've said this every time I look at this deck, like I want this print in like a wallpaper or a dress or a blouse. Like I just love blacks and florals, and we've got these pretty moons, so pretty. This deck, I love the art style. It's like whimsical, it's feminine, it's really quirky. It's got nods to so many just different things. I'm trying to see, like we've got the kiss here. What else do we have? I mean, some of them might be lost on me. I forget his name. A king. I'm drawing a blank. Let's see here. David Bowie. Like it's like random, but it works. I feel like this deck is just very my aesthetic. Like everything about this deck, I just love. It also feels very pagan, as we see here. It feels very like kind of fairy tale. We've got nods to Midsommar, so like horror. It's just so good. And this is, as soon as this came into my collection, I was like, this is this deck is amazing. So I love this. I'd love to do a deep dive with it too. I'd love if the creator made a full-size guidebook on this. That would be great. Because, I mean, the little white book is fine. But I would love to know more about, like, what went into each image. Because I think there's a lot of maybe intention and symbology that went into these that might be getting lost on me. Like, I'm just reading it intuitively, but it's just so good. And the price point is so good too, because it's mass market. So if you're even remotely like attracted to this art style, I highly suggest you check out the Tarot for Carlotides. So that made my top 10. It feels like a very springy deck, so this will be coming out again once we are in springtime. A deck that pairs really nicely with the Tarot de Carlotides is my Seasons of the Witch Beltane Oracle. I've talked about this in many of my videos. I really adore this set of decks. This is hopefully this ends up being all 8. So far, the creators have made 3 of them. So we've got Beltane, we've got, the first one was Samhain, and then the Yule deck. They all have very similar backs. They've kept the continuity. The next one coming out, I believe, is Mabon, and it is a new artist, which I'm a little bummed about because I do really love Giada Rose's artwork, but the artwork is still really beautiful, so it's okay. It's totally fine. I'm sure I'm gonna love it. But the reason I love this deck, and I got this in 2022, is these decks are just such a wonderful way to tap into seasonal energy, which is a large part of my like witchy practice. It's very seasonal, it's very cyclical. So I love being able to have a deck for each season, each Sabbath, to help me connect. And I found these decks really pair nicely with tarot. I found these decks really work as standalone oracle. They work great for my journaling practice, my journal prompts. I tend to use these as altar cards. So these decks in particular tend to get a lot, they're very versatile in my collection. I use them for a lot of different things. This was a joy to work with around Beltane. I feel like this energy is just really potent in that like spring, that blossoming, that very sensual Mother Earth energy, very Empress energy, very sacral chakra. So I adore this deck. So this was definitely a top for me in 2022 because that's when I got it. And it's a joy to bring out every spring, so I can't wait to bring that out in a couple months. Yeah. Okay, and the next deck I have that I got early in, I think it was January 2022, is the Dark Days Tarot. This is another deck I don't really feel like I see a lot of people use. So with this deck, it is a square deck, which I actually quite like. It just, feels different in my hand. I can hold it. You can read it with directionality, which I really don't. But this deck feels really great for winter. It feels really great for shadow work, for deeper inner work. I love the art style. I love how this feels like a deck that you really want to take your time with and move slowly with. This is not a deck in which I want to pull a lot of cards in a big spread. This is a deck where I like to pull 1 or 2, and that's it. And I just like to sink into the imagery. It feels deep. It feels slow, introspective. So what I found is I like to usually pull 2 cards at a time with this specific deck and an oracle card, and like that alone is my reading. This deck just makes me want to slow down, and I really enjoy that about this deck. I enjoy the black and white and gray color palette. It's very dark feminine, which I think if you are exploring your dark feminine energy and what that means to you, your shadows, I think this deck would be great for that. Yeah, this is just, it's a beauty, and she's slow and she's methodical. And I appreciate that about her. I think a lot of times I myself can move really quickly through a tarot reading, and that's cool too. But there is something to be said about being really slow with your readings and just pulling 1 or 2 cards and just like sinking into the imagery, letting your intuition go deeper than usual, and letting the wisdom kind of come through. Maybe it takes the whole day. Maybe it takes longer than that. And I think this deck allows for that space. And I really appreciate her for that. So that is my Dark Days Tarot that I am using this month. So right now we are in January of 2023. So this feels like a very wintry January deck because of the stark colors. I really like black and white decks in the winter. So that's been really fun to work with. So I'm working with that right now. Dark Days Tarot. So the Dark Days, I really like to pair with this one. This is the Moon Witch Oracle cards. So I actually tried getting the tarot and it just like didn't do it for me. It was absolutely beautiful, but it just wasn't providing me anything new in my collection that I didn't already have. So I was like, you know what? I ended up rehoming that, and that was great. And that's because I love the Oracle. And it's a really great lesson for me that like, just because I love one deck by a creator, it doesn't mean I need all the decks from the creators. And I've done that before, and I'm learning, like, just get the one you like, and like, you don't need to complete the set. So that's kind of like a new thing for me, and I'm really excited. I know that about myself now. But anyway, this deck is a lovely deck as an oracle. I don't have anything else like it. I love the art style. Again, it's very witchy, very moonchild. I love how there is a keyword and then we've got a key phrase. So I think you have a lot to go off of just intuitively. And the guidebook is really great too. So this works really nicely with black and white decks like the Dark Days. This also really loves to work with the Moon Void Tarot, particularly my 3rd edition, the pink, black and white one. So this one is so fun. We've got the gold, if you can see that. It's just super witchy. We've got moon phases. We've got, I think there's a couple like suits in this deck. So we've got moon phases. We've got some goddesses. What else do we have? Moon phases. I forget what suit this is in. There's a yes and no card. We've got like some witchy, just like witchy terminology, witch's hat. There was coven, goddesses again. And then just some keywords, curiosity, spells and rituals, Kali. It's great. It's simple, it's dark. The guidebook is pretty good. It also includes, if I recall correctly, the guidebook also has like rituals for each card, which is pretty cool. Oh, let me show you the suits. So suit 1 is the moon phases. Suit 2 is goddesses. Suit 3 is like, there's no name for it, or is there? Page 69, let's see. Insight cards. And then suit 4 is just the yes or no and sign. So it's a really nice deck that I think pairs well with others. It's really feminine, it's really beautiful. I really enjoy it. So that is a win for me in 2022, the Moon Witch Oracle. Okay, so these two in this bag are a set because I work with them together, although they're not by the same creator. So first we have the Future Ancestors Tarot, pairing that with, and again, these are different creators, the Tandem Oracle, which a lot of people might not be familiar with. This is by, I believe it's by the creator who also did the Practical Magic Tarot. She's a Filipino creator, and I am Filipino, so I love these decks together because Future Ancestors is also created by a Filipino artist. And these connect me to my ancestry and my home, because I have all of my mom's side of the family is still in the Philippines. So again, these are two decks from two different creators who just happen to be Filipino as well. And I love working with these together. They feel like home. They feel like a warm hug from a family member, or messages from my Lola, which is grandmother in Tagalog. It represents a part of my heritage and my history that is missing because I don't live there, and I've only been there a few times, and I kind of long for that connection. So these two together feel very, very special. They look like they were meant to work together. I love how this one has Tagalog on it, and it also has the key phrase. And the Future Ancestors is just such a beautifully warm, nourishing deck. This is the deck pairing I go to when I need any advice for family or from family. Like if I need a message from a wise grandmother who loves me unconditionally, and you know, she's not always going to sugarcoat it, but she's going to say what I need to hear because she loves me so much. And that's what these two decks mean to me. And gosh, Metamorphosis with Find Hope. Like, I just want to like sit here and meditate on these and journal on them. Student of Cups and Nurture. The Devil with Sweeten. The Hermit and Heal. Like, oh, these are so good. These are so good. And these are probably in my top ever. Once I discovered this pairing, I was in love. So this is the Future Ancestors Tarot, and this is by Lexa Luna Studio, and she is a fellow Filipina, and I love this deck so much. And this is the Tandem Oracle, and I think the title card says who it's by. Created by Cynthia Buzon Are and Chingay Labrador, who is from Practical Magic. So if you are interested, I did order these from the Philippines, so I don't know how easy these are to get, but for me, it's just a part of my culture and heritage, and it's a way for me to connect. So it was worth ordering, and oh, I love them so much. Love so much. Okay, so that's 10, and then I have an 11th. What is it called? It's like honorable mention. And the reason it's an honorable mention is because I technically didn't get this in 2022, but I finally started using it in 2022 and connected with it. And that is the Stunning Tarot by Yonasa Yas. I guess that's how I don't know. I don't think anyone knows how to pronounce her name. But this deck I actually bought secondhand from someone on Instagram a few years ago. And that's the funny thing about me, is I will buy a deck knowing like I really want to work with that, I want to get to know it, but I'll like sit on it for a few years. Like I'll be like, yep, I want to work with that deck, but not now. So I had this for a couple years and it just sat there. And then this year I was finally like, nope, I'm ready for the Stunning Tarot. And I took it out, and this is another deck that requires a slowness to it. This is another deck that only wants a few cards pulled, 2, maybe 3. And that's it. It just wants you to sink into the imagery. It wants you to go deeper instead of wider. It's a truth teller. It's evocative. I think it's great for shadow work. And then plus just aesthetically, it's really, really beautiful. I love this like bold, but like limited color palette. I love how each suit has like a theme. So the wands are this very witchy suit. These swords, it's so interesting, are like underwater. So we've got like mermaids. Yeah, like look how witchy. Witchy. What else we have? Cups are this like kind of like Middle Eastern, kind of like Arabian Nights kind of aesthetic. And then I think the pentacles are this yellow color and it's like Egyptian. So it's very interesting. The artwork's evocative. It wants you to slow down and just pull a few cards. This is not a deck for a big spread, in my opinion. And I was able to really start connecting with this on a deeper level, and I love that because I wasn't sure I was able to, and I want to when a deck is like really beautiful and it's calling to me. So I'm just so happy I was finally able to do that. I'm excited to get to know her even more, and I just appreciate how I was able to pick this up secondhand off of someone in the Instagram community online. So that is the Stunning Tarot. I can get that back into the box. Can I get it into the box? Okay, there we go. So you all, that is my top 10 tarot of 2022. Put them all in here. So thank you so much to Lisa Papez for creating this really great tarot tag. This was a lot of fun. I was going to do something like this anyway, but I was like, oh, well, let me do Lisa's tag. That's great. I'd love to hear what you thought of my deck choices, and I'd also love to see your VR to this tarot tag as we've ended 2022. What were the decks that you really, whether you got or connected with, that made an impact on you? So if you liked this video, I hope you give it a thumbs up. Definitely leave a comment down below what your thoughts are. Subscribe if you're new here. I'm still a pretty new channel, so I would love to have you all here. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.